So, today we're going to talk about 5 things to avoid if you're thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, or if you already are one and you're fairly starting this whole beautiful journey of becoming an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship comes with many, many challenges. And, I started that journey many years ago. I was very young. I was just looking for additional ways to make some income. So what I'm going to be sharing with you is a perspective that is a personal perspective, obviously connected to some of the things that you probably know, or you hopefully you'll get to see out there, right? But it's not something that I read in a book. Most of it comes from personal experience. But definitely 5 things that you need to avoid if you're thinking about becoming an entrepreneur. Right, so welcome to the channel, guys. A lot of people right now are thinking, especially during these times, right? The economy is getting a little complicated. People are getting laid off and they don't know exactly what to do, where to go, what do I do next? This is the time where a lot of people start thinking about the concept of entrepreneurship, right? Should I take a risk? Right? Is this the moment, when things feel a little complicated? I don't have the stability of income that I used to have from my job. I realized that the whole income security is not there, that maybe can disappear just as easy as the economy getting complicated. Next thing you know, everything changes, right? So people are saying, I'm trying to control my ability to make money. It's not just how much money I get to make, but I want to control the ability to make it. I don't want anybody to have the powers to just say, hey, listen, you got to go, right? And that's literally, unfortunately, what a lot of people have been facing. You're looking at staggering numbers, right? Of Amazon letting go of thousands of people, right? That goes the same for Twitter, name the company, Facebook, every Tesla, every major company out there already went through a significant share of layoff when it comes to people working for a lot of companies. I know people that work for single places, 5, 10, 15 years. And by the way, that was the number one reason why they never wanted to try the possibility of becoming an entrepreneur. It is risky, right? Anybody that's telling you that it's an easy thing to do, either more than likely is lying to you or never done it themselves. They're just talking about it, but they never done it themselves. And also, a lot of people, what I want you to understand is it's not a question of being easy. The question that you got to be asking is, it's not so much, is it easy? The question is, how simple it is. Can I explain it to somebody else? Can I follow it? Can I see the beginning? Can I see how it makes money? Can I see that there is a necessity in the marketplace? Can I explain it to somebody else? Because you're going to know that you understand your business if you actually have the ability to explain your business model to another person. And you should be able to do that within 15 minutes. That means that you'd really have a very good handle on what is it that your business is all about, the benefit to other people, and why it's a good idea for people to be connected to you business-wise. But anyway, let me start by saying, again, we're talking about things to avoid, right? When somebody's extremely successful business-wise, unfortunately, the number one question that everybody's always asking is, okay, how did that work very well? Of course, we want to know some of the secrets, right? How do I get it to work like that for myself? How can I get the same results? We are always looking for the questions that hopefully will make you a lot of money, will make you rich quickly. But we're not asking, hey, what went wrong for you? If you have the chance to do something else. By the way, these are questions that I hope you are going to write down and you're going to be using for the future. What went wrong for you? Is there anything that was a real tough lesson to learn along the way? Is there anything that you absolutely will do different if you have the opportunity to do it all over again, right? And so understanding the process, because business models are different, business concepts are different, business people and people in general are so different that they're going to have a different way to embrace entrepreneurship. But here are some of the things that I definitely want you to avoid. The first thing that I want you to avoid is relying 100% on your instinct. By the way, your instinct is going to move you in the right direction. When it comes to dealing with certain people, dealing with certain ideas, you're going to know. That little voice in the back of your head is going to be constantly telling you, don't do it. This is not a good idea. This is not. So I'm not saying don't rely on instinct at all. What I'm saying is don't rely on it 100%. Because you also, when we're talking about the concept of instinct, you also know that you follow your instinct sometimes that took you to some really stupid places, okay? So can I follow my instinct? And so what do I need to do? Well, there's a lot of data out there. Then now, in addition to the instinct that you have, now you can back that up with a lot of information that happens to be available many places, YouTube, phenomenal books, phenomenal speakers out there that can help you get some understanding of how things work. Any business right now, with the exception of some of the real up-and-coming technology-based type of businesses that are emerging today, and that will always be a challenge. People will always have the need to catch up to that, and you got to keep up with new technology and new information. But just about every business already has enough information when you can understand the history of the business, what makes it profitable, why is somebody trying to sell it for X amount of dollars, or why you should be investing into that business. So it's not either or, right? It's not just data, because you can also get a lot of information that looks pretty, but you still know it's not a business that you're going to run well. It's not a business that you like doing, right? So it has to be a combination of both, right? Instinct and data, right? Your heart is telling you to do something. You got to go ahead and verify the information. And that's a good concept to apply. So avoid relying 100% into anything. Make sure that you grab what works from that concept, and then make sure you pair that up with the opposite side, right? Instinct is emotion, data is logic. So you want to bring these two together as much as possible. The second thing that I want you to avoid, avoid the cult mentality, but embrace culture, right? It's funny, the word cult actually comes from culture, needless to say, right? But you have to avoid, why do I mean avoid cult mentality? And I'm not talking about don't sell out to the idea. I'm not suggesting you shouldn't be 100%. Nothing works unless you are 100% committed to the process, 100% in it. The problem is that today, so many people are looking for, how do I make $1 million by Friday? And that never goes well. That never ends well, right? But the cult mentality of certain business models and certain things that people will do out there will get you to the point where you forget about anything that would be reasonable. Culture is what makes a company very special. Culture is what makes a very specific products. You know, I mean, I can name Apple, Tesla. These companies have incredible culture. Right now, we're reading a book called Unreasonable Hospitality, and they really spend a lot of time talking about the culture of the company. I highly recommend you grab that book. It's a phenomenal book for you to read. It goes deep into what a healthy culture is, what it does for you, what it does for the people that you're working with, for the people that work for you, and especially, what do you do for your clients or your customer base, right? So it's super important to establish the difference between something that is cult-like and culture, right? Number 3, avoid the personality types of structure or personalities, right? And embrace systems, right? I see today, by the way, here I am, making a video. I have some different following from other business ventures. I'm connected to a lot of people that are trained in an almost daily basis. And the fact of the matter is that I'm the one who's always asking them, listen, I'm not asking you to duplicate me, because you're going to have to develop an accent, you're going to have to lose some hair, and you're going to have to get older a lot faster, right? The fact of the matter is that what I'm asking you is to embrace and duplicate systems that actually work very well. At the very beginning of any business venture, the one thing that you're not going to have is systems in place, right? You're trying everything out. You're trying to follow, especially if you made a very small investment, right? A lot of people will make very large investments into a business. You see somebody putting $1 million into a McDonald's. They're not buying that because they don't know how to make French fries or a burger, right? They're buying a system, right? They know that this is the easiest way to guarantee success, right? So let me embrace it from that perspective. But if you're spending very little money or not a lot of money, you more than likely, your business is getting off the ground with very few systems in place. You don't know exactly what your accounting is going to look like. You definitely more than likely don't have a CFO, never mind. If you don't even have an accountant in place, you more than likely don't have a chief financial officer, you don't have a COO, you don't have maybe you're not even a good CEO yourself, you know what I mean? You don't have a good sales manager, you don't have a good recruiting structure, you don't have definitely don't even have an HR structure for the, there's so many moving parts to a new business, but you don't have to try to do it all from the very beginning. You got to fix some of the things as you go along. But stop following so many people that never done anything other than to talk about business. They never built a business. They never started anything. They don't know any of the steps. They read it from a book and then they just giving it back to you. And the only business that they ever develop is the one where they talk about business. But they really never took anything off the ground. They don't know what it feels like when you're against the wall and you have certain deadlines, especially payroll deadlines. I'm going to tell you guys, there's nothing that can become scarier than when a weekend is coming around, you have X amount of thousands of dollars that have to go out to take care of a payroll, people that are relying on you, depending on you. And that's why I feel for how heavily criticized as most business owners and people that want to tax them even more. If you knew the kind of anxiety that you have to go through just to be able to get that to work, you would have so much more respect. But stay away from, there's a lot of so-called gurus out there that really never done anything. Stay away from those guys, right? There's a lot of phenomenal people that you can follow today that they literally prove concept, right? They build not only multi-million-dollar businesses, but in some cases, billion-dollar businesses. You want to pay attention to those guys. What are they doing? And pay attention to some of the struggles they have to go through to get there, right? The things to avoid are super important. Every single one of them will share that information with you because they know that if there's anything that they wanted to get from other people is some guidance, some preparation about things to avoid, right? That would have saved them time and money. Number four, I've been having a conversation about this for like the last few days, has been intense part of just about every conversation. Number four is you have to avoid doing only the things that you like. You have to avoid doing only things you like, and you got to start embracing doing things that you need to do. And those are two different things, right? I was having a conversation with somebody, and I asked the question, so it's a little bit of a, we're starting the basis for a consulting conversation. So I'm going through a sequence of questions. Is this something that you like? How did you get started? It's like, you know what? It just fell in my lap. I'm doing this business. It's not necessarily what I like. So what do you want to do with this? It's like, well, listen, I like to make money. I just want to find a way to make some money. I'm willing to go through different stages to learn, to go through a process. Right now, this is making me money right now. It's not necessarily what I would like to do, but I'm doing it because, it pays my bills, it provides for my family. My children are going through private schools, so I'm willing to make a little bit of a sacrifice. I'm going to tell you, I'm having this conversation, and in the back of my head, I'm saying, most people are not willing to do something like that. Most people just want to do what they like to do. They want to make money when it's convenient today. I'm going to do this business when I feel like doing it. You have to embrace doing certain things when you don't feel like doing that. Not necessarily. You want to embrace to do business because you know that it's the right thing to do, that's going to help you provide for your family, that if you do it well, everybody's going to be winning. So it's super important that you avoid only the things that you like and you embrace some of the things you don't like, but you need to do it. What separates one real player from another player, what separates a big entrepreneur from the other entrepreneur, is not the guy who's asking, well, I'm willing to do what the other guy is doing. That's not, if that's as far as you go, you're missing the point. You have to be willing to do what the other person is not willing to do. That's what's going to separate you from the group, right? If you embrace that, you're going to do just fine through the stages. Sometimes you go into a business that's going to become the platform that's going to take you to the next business. And finally, avoid something that only allows you to be the one doing it. I know a lot of people that go through a process of becoming a solopreneur, right? I'm the only one. I'm the business. I'm the secretary. I answer the phone. I deal with the clients. I deal with a lot of people. One way is to start the business with very little resources and very little help. And another thing is to get stuck in a business. Well, you don't get the chance to duplicate, multiply, because essentially, if you're thinking about going into a business model where you're actually going to have something to sell, right? You got to know when you go into a business, if this is something that I just want to do for the rest of my life, if this is something that I want to pass on to my children, if this is something that one day I would like to sell, and if I'm going to sell it, then I got to have something that's going to stay when I go. What that means is that if I have a business that relies 100% on my participation, I have nothing to sell unless I'm willing to stay as part of the business. So a lot of people that go through this journey, though, is they struggle with that concept a little bit, just because they say, I'm not good, running other people. I'm not really good because, guys, it's the same principle. A lot of the things that you don't know right now, you are going to learn and you're going to develop. But if you fear growing the size of your business because you fear running people, what that means is that you need to get to the point where you can hire somebody that can actually come in and provide the solutions you are not able to provide. You got to look at your strengths and your weaknesses, right? So areas where you are weak, you got to ask yourself the question, can I hire somebody to do the job? Because what you need to do as soon as possible is to move away from just being a very good soldier to developing a big army, right? What makes companies like Amazon and many of these distribution companies, phenomenal companies, even Coke and Pepsi today, right? When you're thinking about those brands, right? If you want to go brand driven, when you're thinking about those brands, there's so many other companies that are right now emerging, coming up, saying, I hope I can get Pepsi to do my distribution. I hope I can get Coke to do my distribution. Hopefully they will buy my business because it's so valuable, and I already also have a distribution system in place, whatever the case may be. But the idea is to move you from being a great soldier to actually having a great army. That is your distribution. By the way, the great army is what you get to sell if one day you say, you know what, I don't even like dealing with people anymore. I'm ready to check out. I'm going. So if you go, there is a business that is going to stay. So avoid being the only guy who is everything, who actually essentially is the business. So I just wanted to give you those 5 points. Obviously, there's many other areas that we look to hopefully put forward. If you find any of this information helpful, guys, if you have any friends or anybody that's thinking about going into business and they're starting up and they have some fears, what's more important right now is some of the things to avoid, right? And probably a final thing that I will give you, right? Avoid going into a lot of debt. Don't become heavily indebted from day one, because sometimes you dig a hole that you'll never be able to come out from. So just be careful with how much money you take. By the way, guys, I'm going to, if you're serious about becoming a business owner, if you're serious about becoming an entrepreneur, I'm going to highly recommend that you buy this book from my friend, mentor to millions of people, right? Patrick Bet-David, Your Next 5 Moves. I wish I would have, if I would have had this book, I tell everybody, if I would have had this book when I was starting up, I can only imagine the kind of results and the kind of success. Everything that you need to understand and even how to structure certain things, you're going to find it in this book. This is a very successful Patrick Bet-David writing this book. This is a very mature, business mature, and person and individual mature Patrick Bet-David that you want to read. So I highly recommend. Also, I recommend that you follow his channel in Valuetainment, the #1 channel for entrepreneurs. We are just here to fill in the blanks once in a while and to provide one additional perspective. Just because I'm a little older than most of you, and I've seen a couple of very good results and also some horror movies that you definitely want to avoid. With that being said, please pass it around, share, like. Let us know if you have anything else that you would like us to address. If you have any additional questions or anything specifically that you would like to avoid and you want to know how to do it, just let us know. We would be very happy to reply to you. And I cannot wait for you to embrace that journey of entrepreneurship. And I wish you nothing but the best. Thank you, guys. We'll see you soon.